Hello friends, and welcome to another Bluebird Art Studios video. My name is Miss Emma, and today we will be painting a cardinal with watercolors. For today's project, you're going to need a pencil, a Sharpie, a whiteout pen, paint brushes, watercolor, water, a sponge, and watercolor paper. Let's get started. So for our first step, we're going to make the basic shapes to form our cardinal. We'll start about right here and create a curved line that goes till about here. Now we'll create a second line which curves down from our top point and then continues on down to create the back and then the tail of the cardinal. Once you get about here, we're going to curve it back in on itself and connect it to our first line. Now we're going to create the mask for the cardinal by creating a curved line that goes right back into our first half circle. Then we can create the beak with a small triangle right about here, as well as the shape for the eye. Now we'll create his wing. We'll begin this shape about right here and make a line that curves out this way, ending just under the line for his body, so right about here. Once we've gotten to this point, I'm going to add another circle in the eye, and we're also going to create the line of the branch that our bird is standing on. Start at the lower left corner and continue it up, passing just under where our cardinal is, and then finishing it on the right side of the paper. We'll make another one just under it to create the other side of the branch, and then create some lines that will make his legs. These will go straight down from his body to the branch. And then to add his feet, we're just going to add 3 lines curling over the branch for each foot, just like this. Lastly, we're going to go in with a few more details. First off, let's make some branches. I'll place one right here, curling it upward. We can add leaves and even berries to our branches. If you do berries, make sure to vary them in size so they look natural and organic. I'll add one more branch right here and repeat the same process, adding a leaf or 2. And then a few berries. Now I'm going to erase the intersecting line of the body on our bird's wing, and we'll add a few last details here. I'm going to want to create 2 lines to add feathers to the tail, going over just like this, and then 3 lines to the wing. For these, you can curl them up and make them go about halfway up the wing. Now we're just going to outline all the lines that we've made with our pencil with our Sharpie. For this part, just go slow and steady so that we have clean, sharp lines. Now, after we're done outlining everything with our Sharpie, we're going to take our eraser and erase any of the pencil lines you see poking out from under the Sharpie. Now that we've finished all of our outlines with our Sharpie, we're moving on to our watercolor. So the first thing that we're going to do is paint the cardinal red. For this, I'm going to use my small brush. We'll use our water, sponge method to make sure we have enough water on our brush, and then begin bringing the red watercolor to our mixing palette. Once we're happy with the color, we're going to begin coloring all parts of the bird's body except its face, eye, and nose. For this, you can go slowly and take it section by section like I'm doing here. Now I'm going to let that dry for a minute while I take my detail brush and mix up a yellow-orange for our nose, and then color in that area. Now I'm going to mix up a slightly more concentrated and more deep red with my detail brush. Still using my detail brush, I'm going to use this color to create a shadow under the wing of my cardinal. For this, we can just make a line right here on the bottom of the shape that curls up into the shape. I'll also make some detail lines on the feathers, tail, and the wing. I'll just make sure these lines are on the bottom side of our Sharpie for both the feathers on the tail and the feathers on the wing. lastly, I'm just going to add a little bit of shading at the bottom of our cardinal's belly. Once I get to this area, I'll get a little bit of water on my brush and blend together these two colors. Alright, at this point in our drawing, we're going to move on to the background. The first thing that I'm going to do is clean off my mixing palette. Now we're going to take our large brush and mix up some blue for the sky in the background. We'll test our shade on our test strip before bringing it to our paper, and then begin filling in the backgrounds. Be very careful as you're going around the branches and berries and the cardinal itself. After we finish painting in our background, we're going to use our sponge to clean off our mixing palette one more time, and we'll begin painting in the branch. For this, we're going to bring some brown to our mixing palette and use our small brush to create a base of this brown on the branch. Be very careful not to go over the lines that separate the branch from the background. We'll make sure not to forget our small branches coming off of the main branch. And then we're going to switch to our detail brush. We'll mix up a darker brown, making it more saturated, using more paint and less water, and adding in a little bit of black. And then we're going to bring this to the bottom side of the branch to create our shadow. We can also add shadows onto the small branches coming off of it. Instead of making this a straight line, I'm making it move and zigzag a little bit so that it looks more natural. Once we're done with this, I'm going to wash my brush and then mix up a green color for our leaves. We're going to use our detail brush for this as well. Make sure I'm happy with my color and then bring it to the paper. Now I'll rinse off my brush once more and bring some pure red paint to the mixing palette. With this, we're going to color in the berries on our tree. Now the last thing that we're going to do with our paint is mix up the darkest black that we can and create the mask for our cardinal. We're also going to use our detailed brush for this step. As we color this in, be so careful not to go over any of our Sharpie lines, especially the ones separating the mask from the eye. Once we finish this step, we can move on to our whiteout pen. So we're going to take our white paint pen. If you don't have one of these, you can also just use acrylic paint for this step. And we're going to create snow scattered around the background. We'll just randomly space these flakes out so that they look like they're falling down in a light snow. After we finished all of our snowflakes, we can use this same pen or paint to add a highlight on the pupil. We can also add a few highlights to our berries. I'm going to make the highlights go at the top right side of each of these circles. This shows the direction that the light is coming from in our painting. And after you finish this step, we are done with our painting. Thanks for watching, creative friends! Don't forget to like and subscribe. I hope you've had fun creating this masterpiece with me. We'd love to see what you've created today, so feel free to share your art with us. We'll see you next time, and stay artsy.